Good morning. I'm Gerard Vecchio. I'm a managing director at MarshBerry. Today with me, we have Robbie Smith, CEO of Oakbridge Insurance. Good morning, Robbie.
Good morning, Gerard. Thanks for having me today.
Oh, my pleasure. Today, Robbie is going to talk a little bit about Oakbridge. Just as a little background for our audience, Robbie partnered with private equity firm Corsair Partners and brought together 4 large firms from Georgia Agency Partners to form a top 100 broker and also the largest insurance agency in the Southeast. So first, Robbie, congratulations on bringing this all together.
Thanks, Gerard, and I appreciate that. And a special thanks to the team at MarshBerry, who genuinely were the workhorses in pulling financial and operational data together. It could not have happened without our partnership with MarshBerry and the trust that we all had in those guys, the MarshBerry team, to pull this off.
Thank you, Robbie. That's very kind. So I'd really like to start with, how this all came together. In other words, what was the driving force that brought you all together, and why now? Why do it now in the middle of a pandemic?
Right. Well, that's a great question. When we started the process, we did not know there was going to be a pandemic. We started the process about 2 years ago when MarshBerry came to Georgia Agency Partners and did a presentation regarding what's going on in the insurance agency and brokerage world. From there, I think each of these very fine independent agencies, about 15 agencies were part of Georgia Agency Partners, started thinking about their perpetuation and succession options ahead of them. And they are pretty much the same for every agency. It is internal perpetuation, it is a merger, it is an external sale of the agency. The options are there, and each of those options present a really great both opportunity and challenges. So through the course of about a 1.5 year long period of time, as different agencies coming together, 4 agencies emerged, and they all had very similar characteristics. Number one, each of the 4 agencies that were part of Oakbridge were dominant players in their communities. So they were the largest local agency in what I would call second and third tier communities in the state of Georgia. Communities like Columbus and LaGrange and Macon and Brunswick and Woodstock, all in the state of Georgia. So they were the dominant players in those communities, and each had a desire to continue to move up market. So they knew that to attract producers and to keep clients satisfied, that they were going to need to continue to invest in resources on the commercial P&C side. It's claims analytics and safety and loss control and other tools, OSIP and CSIP kind of capabilities, and surety. On the benefits side, it's enrollment and compliance and benefits administration. And it was very difficult for each of those firms to stomach that investment individually, but as a group, because there was a real shared vision to say we are consultative and not transactional. We want to be a trusted advisor to our client. We realized that we were genuinely stronger as a group by coming together than each of us would have been individually, and that was the impetus of Oakbridge.
Well, my hat's off to you, because those are some pretty big issues to address, even without a pandemic. And you did it in the middle of a pandemic. So I would say in that regard, were there 1 or 2 aspects of the transaction that were particularly surprising? And how did you address them along the way?
Right. Well, we began once the 4 agencies truly locked arms and said, we want to do this. One of their first decisions was to bring in an outside CEO, and that's me. I had the good fortune of having a relationship with each of these firms through the years in my career. So there was already a friendship in many ways and a professional relationship that existed. So they made a decision to bring in an outside CEO and an outside CFO. And we brought one of our COO is an internal person, but those challenges were there. So we started meeting in the midst of COVID by phone once a week for about 1.5 hours. And then once a month, we would get together in a major conference room by the Atlanta airport, sitting in corners, and we simply talked about the business. How do we want to compensate producers? How do we want to handle technology? What do the value-added resources look like? How do we want to provide equity opportunities to the current production team? How do we want to provide equity opportunities to new producers that join us? What specialties do we want to define us? And as we talked about the business, a picture emerged, and that picture is a middle market, consultative, broker, producer-centric model that takes the strength of the local agency, which is relationships, and puts it together with the strength of the big brokers, which are resources. So we all compete along this relationship to resource continuum. And we knew we had all of the relationships. We were the dominant player in each of our communities, but we need to now start layering in resources. So what we started doing is saying, what new investments do we want to make? What kind of people do we need to hire? What kind of technology do we need to have? And over the course of a 3 or 4 or 5 month period of time, the business model came together, and it was quite exciting.
You know, Robbie, I hear you describe that, and, you know, doing all of that, socially distancing, getting in a conference room in 4 corners. And it just strikes me that even though it's not as easy for me to say that almost the hard part is done, in some ways, you know, you added a level of complexity and plowed right through it and got it done. So, you know, with that, I think it's a great lead into, so now what? Where do you take Oakbridge from here? It seems like, you know, now that we're getting hopefully past the pandemic in the next few months, you know, you can kind of ease, if you will, the health concerns, and, you know, build a unified and independent broker. So what now?
Okay. Well, the marching orders, or our mantra, is this: local to regional to super regional. So we had 4 local agencies that came together. By coming together, we became a dominant regional agency. So today we are $31 million of revenues, 175 employees, and we are we believe the second largest privately owned agency in the state of Georgia. There may be others, but we can only identify one larger than us. So we've gone from local to regional, and now we have a strong pipeline of acquisitions. So currently we have 3 acquisitions under LOI, 1 in Georgia, 1 in South Carolina, 1 in North Carolina. We have a very robust pipeline of other agencies that we're having conversations with. So from regional, we go to super regional. So the vision down the road is to grow our organic business, by industry leading levels. And, you know, industry leading organic growth right now is double digit. It's 10, 11, 12%. So we will grow the base going forward by providing tools, resources, producer training and accountability, and things like that to help producers do their job well. And then we will layer in new acquisitions to help build it out. So we hope that in 5 years, we are approaching $100 million more of revenue doing business in Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Central and Eastern Tennessee, and North Florida. And we will focus our business again on these 2nd and 3rd tier communities. You know, we love Atlanta, we love Charlotte and Jacksonville and Birmingham, but we think the real opportunity is in these other communities where again, the local agent is the dominant player, but needs the resources to move up market.
You know, Robbie, that is just a great differentiation of strategy from a lot of the firms that we hear, which, you know, for good or bad, is to look in the larger metropolitan areas that you described and build revenues. So I compliment you on your differentiated strategy and pretty much that. And you know, I think it's a great start. We look forward to hopefully working together with you as time goes by. And again, good luck with building the firm, because you've had just a great start thus far. So again, thank you for joining us, Robbie Smith, CEO of Oakbridge Insurance.
Thank you, Gerard. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you. You too.